Hello and welcome. You must have heard the recent news about South Korean government data center catching fire. Close to 900 terabytes of critical information was lost. This led to a lot of public facing services also getting impacted. The worst part is that even though government knew that they were hosting such critical information, they failed to build any redundancy and resiliency. Now, what does this tells you in case you're hosting your environment in any of the public cloud? And that is what I'm here to talk about, what tools you can already utilize to make sure your data is protected. Now, taking example of Microsoft Azure, they have this concept of paired region. The definition of a paired region is that these two regions needs to be separated by certain distance, but still keeping the data within the geographical boundary of that country. In Canada, we have two. We have Central, which is in Toronto, and we have East, which is in Quebec City. In case you want to utilize a business continuity and disaster recovery solution, you can make use of Azure Site Recovery. Through this, you can replicate your VMs to a secondary region, and something like this, what happened on the South Korean side happens, you can still bring up your services in secondary region. Other popular services that I see a lot of partners and customers they use is storage. You can pick from 4 redundancy options: locally redundant, geo-redundant, zone redundant, or read access geo-redundant storage. In case you want to protect yourself from region level failure, you need to pick from GRS or RAGRS option. Now, for decades, we have relied on 3-to-1 architecture to protect our critical information. 3 copies of data on 2 different media with 1 copy offsite. Now, how this concept applies in case you're hosting in cloud. Now, when you configure a backup policy for your environment, you can configure a recovery service vault. And by default, Microsoft picks the redundancy of geo-redundant storage for you. Though you can tweak it, but my recommendation will be to keep it geo-redundant, so this way you will have copies spread across 2 regions. And if your Canada Central region goes down, you can still restore your environment from the secondary region, which is sitting in Quebec City. Along with this, you can also use combination of availability sets as well as availability zones. Though these concepts only applies within one region, but in certain cases, they can be still helpful to build resiliency for your environment. For example, if you have applied availability zones, your environment will be separate across multiple zones within one region. The advantage is that if one of the data center which has its own power supply and cooling goes down and you have deployed availability zone, your end customer will still be able to access these services because your workloads are spread across multiple data center. So some of these options you need to consider in case you're building and architecting or designing your solution on Azure. Hopefully this was helpful. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.